Hey everyone, welcome back to South Texas Youth Soccer's webinar series. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Paul Holocher, the director of the Houston Dynamo Academy and someone I consider myself lucky to call a friend. Paul played professionally in the United States and in Austria, including a stint with the San Jose Clash in Major League Soccer's inaugural season in 1996. Made one appearance for the United States national team. After his career ended in '98, Paul entered into the coaching ranks, currently holds a USS Academy Director, as well as an A coaching license. Previously coached collegiate soccer at Cal Poly and UC Santa Cruz, worked in various club environments, and before coming to Houston, he was the director of player formation for the San Jose Earthquakes. During his time in Houston, Paul's dedicated himself to improving the game at the grassroots level with a series of programs targeted at improving the technical ability of young players in Houston and in South Texas. Today, he's going to share some of those programs and explain how they tie into his philosophy that a rising tide lifts all boats. Paul, thank you for the time, taking the time to join us today. Look forward to hearing what you have.
Thank you, Gareth. No, thank you for having me. Really appreciate being on and being able to share. So, yeah, the presentation I'll show today is really about the early age development and some of the programs that we're doing, not just in the Dynamo Academy, but what we're looking to share throughout the greater community. So a little preface to this. I came from San Jose, like Gareth said, about 20 months ago in August of 2018. And I came to be the Academy Director here for the Houston Dynamo. And it was a really, really exciting opportunity. And really intriguing opportunity, because if you take a look at our city right there, Greater Houston, it's got 6.2 million people. It's also the most diverse city in America, so it's a very large population, very diverse population. So being able to help development in this region of the country was really intriguing to me, and so I've been learning as much as I can. This last year and a half, meeting really great people like Gareth and a lot of people throughout the Texas soccer community. So we're dealing with essentially helping what I consider like a small country in population, Greater Houston. So really the catalyst for what I'm going to show you today came in October of 2018, only a couple months. I was only here for a couple months, and I got an email from Brian Chin, who's there on the left, who's a legend of the Houston Dynamo, just a great guy. And he wrote me an email and said, "Hey, listen, I was contacted and I had the opportunity of having Tom Byer come out to Houston. Would you like to meet Tom?" And I wrote back right to Brian. I said, "Yes, I would absolutely love to meet with Tom." I had known about Tom Byer through kind of social media, but I was very well versed in kind of his influence in Japan and how he helped really transform that country, and his philosophy about soccer starts at home. I'd never really seen any presentation on it, I didn't really know too much about it, but when Tom came here, we had him present to us, and you can see that middle slide. We had our academy staff. We had some local clubs from the community, from the partners in development, and Tom showed us the presentation on Soccer Starts at Home. I won't go into the presentation. I've seen it probably about 50 times now. All I can say is that each time I watch it, I learn more, and I'm always learning from that. So I really, really was, struck by the presentation. Essentially, there's one slide from the presentation on the left. It's really talking about the early ages. It's talking about essentially from when you're born to when you enter into organized play. That period of time, anywhere from 1 year old to 6, 7, 8 years old, and how the top countries in the world, the top players in the world, all had really strong influence in their early years, 2, 3, 4, 5. At home, and were introduced to the game at home and started to develop early in those ages. So anyways, I saw the presentation. It really hit home with me. I brought it to Matt Jordan, who's in the middle photo there at the bottom. fantastic general manager of the Houston Dynamo. I said, Matt, I really believe in this. Matt saw it. It struck with Matt right away. We brought it to John Walker, who's our president of our club, to Tab Ramos, who is actually very familiar with Tom Byer and Soccer Starts at Home. And we've developed a partnership, kind of a strategic partnership, to help share this message throughout not just Greater Houston, but hopefully all of South Texas. So essentially, the phases of development of the early years, we have kind of definitions of different phases of development. If you look to the left in these early years, I've kind of termed it the pre-grassroots. So even before you've entered into organized play, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe you haven't crossed the line into organized play. The grassroots age is what we kind of term, 5 to 8 or 9, and then we have what we call the foundation phase, which is 9, 10, and above, right around there. So the real idea is, if the top soccer countries in the world, the Brazils, the Spains, the many South American countries, European countries, the soccer ball is introduced very, very early in the home, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's part of the culture. A lot of times here in America, that introduction to the ball doesn't start until that child crosses that line. And you can see that little dotted line. It could be at 6 or 7, it could be at 5, it could be at 8. So these countries that have this environment, this culture already, are already having developed their children earlier. So the concepts of earlier development at home, the concepts of ball mastery, skill acquisitions, and the emotional, the physical, the cognitive benefits that also happen with this are huge, huge concepts. I think not only for Houston, but I think for our nation to really start to understand. So we have a kind of a philosophy here at the Academy, which is the culture of development. Basically, we want to always be learning. We always want to be growing. We want to be sharing. We want to be collaborating. And so our philosophy of this culture of development, it really resonates with us that development begins right away. So we understand the Soccer Starts at Home philosophy. It's a very long-term play, so we have to have perspective in this. We want to introduce and improve future development as positively as we can by inspiring the entry level, okay? We're doing that through, building strong relationships, providing insights, a lot of goodwill in our community. And we want to basically empower strong advocates for Soccer Starts at Home and these concepts throughout South Texas. We want to create resources that can help people learn about it. Teachers, club leaders, grassroots coaches, and especially parents, because parents are the key to the whole Soccer Starts at Home. And then we want to provide insights and innovation. So we want to develop programs that I'll show you a little bit here, innovative programs that can share these concepts. I'm going to show you a short video right now of Tom, and he's going to be talking a little bit about one of the programs that we've started, which is a school program, and Soccer Starts at Home and Diesel Skill Builders. So here's a little short video of Tom kind of explaining the program.
Here on behalf of the Houston Dynamo, very interesting programs to different schools, pilot with these schools to put in place a program which we call Soccer Starts at Home. We've got only a couple of schools that we're going to run a pilot program at. One of them is here. We will have instructors that will come to the school and work with your kids, but more important, what the parents are going to do. The whole program is designed for parents to be able to give their children kind of a flying head start before they play stuff like soccer. So a lot of the work's going to be done at the schools, but also it's what's happening at home. We're trying to create a culture in Houston area that understands the importance of ball mastery. Now, this has a very big cognitive benefit as well. So we've got a lot of neuroscience that shows that kids who are physically active and go through this ball mastery program, there's a cognitive byproduct.
So when you see the actual presentation of Soccer Starts at Home, Tom goes a lot into, you know, his previous history as a technical coach, but then also how he documented the development of his own sons and how he was amazed at how they could develop inside the home at these early ages. So the concept with the school program is to introduce these concepts to the kids, and to do it in a way where we can get also educate the teachers and the parents on these concepts and these benefits. So we did a pilot program. We wanted to start off small and start to bring it to a few schools. We worked with the first grade. The younger, the better. So the first graders are basically 6 and 7 years old. We worked at 3 different schools: Auti International, KIP Connect, and NEF Early Learning. We did this in the fall of 2019. Here are the program components. These are the aspects of the program that I'll go into more detail, but we had several components to it. We're still refining the program. We've created a resource page as well, but I'll go through each of these components with you. So really the first day of the school program is what we call the ignition event. And this kind of kicks off the Diesel Skill Builder program. And it's for everybody. It's for the school teachers, it's for the kids, it's for the staff, the principal, and also the parents. And basically what we do is we show a presentation to the first graders of what's possible. And we show them ball mastery. And we get them to kind of get a forward picture of what the program is going to look like. And we also want to inspire the kids. So we want to show them that soccer is a game of skill and that they can do amazing things. Parents are invited to this, but ultimately the key is, you know, these parents, right? Because it's what they do at school, but it's also what they do at home. So this ignition event is really how we kind of kick it off. We do a staff development days. It's kind of ongoing, but we work with the PE staff to show them about the concepts of ball mastery at these ages. So typical PE classes are between 25 and 30 kids. A lot of PE teachers don't know a whole lot about ball mastery or this kind of development. So we help them to learn how to organize, how to develop a real efficient learning environment based on these Soccer Starts at Home methods. We do ball mastery. We show them about ball mastery. We do ball mastery on the move and dribbling games. And you can see even the staff there is doing some of the ball mastery, which is really cool for them to try to do it and see what it's all about. We also go to the school, our staff, and we go to the school and we utilize the PE school's ancillary time. And we work again with these kids. Sometimes in the groups that we had, we were working with 120 kids. Again, when you're in a regular PE class, it might be 25 to 30. But we mentor the kids. We give them a little card there, which is the Diesel Skill Builder card. So after the training, they have a little document of what they can practice and how they can do it at home. And then we do that about 5 times. And then our last day is what we call the soccer celebration. And we go there, we kind of do a little demonstration of all the skills that were taught. We emphasize the vitals of the program. And then every child received a certificate and also a ball and a ticket to a future game. So it was a fun day at the very end. And that was essentially the program. We were going to do it again in the spring here. We had three new schools to do it with. We're going to be actually working with them remotely, virtually, which is going to be really cool as well. So we're going to be constantly learning and trying to refine this program. Here's a little video of the first pilot. this ball mastery has a lot of cognitive benefits. It's not easy stuff to do. Most of the kids never really have touched the ball like this.
I mean, this is really an introduction to the sport for most of the kids, quite honestly. And what we're here to do is to introduce them to the sport and give them really simple lessons and begin the development process. A lot of people equate soccer with kicking a ball, or young kids think it's about kicking. It's a sport about control and dribbling. So we set up a bunch of different games, a little bit of chaos, many goals, many balls, but the whole focus was on dribbling.
I have learned some TikTok and slide and dribbling. I like when I'm focusing on stuff because still if I don't focus, I'm not going to get it right.
The program has brought actually a lot of positive impact. I see a lot of engagement from the parents, from the students. I see that they're getting involved in something new and they're pretty excited about it. So it's pretty fun to see that. If they can take that passion home that you're talking about and now practice at home with mom and dad and try these things, now you're starting to develop a culture, that's got at home and in the school. And now hopefully we have soccer fans for life.
A little bit on the program, and like I said, even in week 1 in first grade, when we introduced the ball to the kids and we actually asked them to dribble or showed them a little dribble, really not too many of the 120 kids knew how to dribble a soccer ball. It was really almost a foreign object to most of them. They would kick it with their toe and run after it, right? And so if you think of this, kind of that introduction, and you go to maybe a soccer culture, soccer-rich culture like Brazil or these other countries that I mentioned, those kids are already dribbling the ball. They've been introduced to it, but that comes through not really an organized program, but through home and through the culture of the home. So we're introducing these concepts through the school, but trying to reach the home. So we created a resource page. It's right down there at the bottom, HoustonDynamo.com/soccer starts at home. And I would recommend all parents, soccer coaches, club leaders to go ahead and take a look at it. It's a really great resource page. It goes through a whole lot of different things. We work with all the staffs at all the schools with a newsletter, mentoring, some PE session plans, and we just want to be able to keep developing this culture of sharing and learning together. This is the resource page. We're still refining this page. It's getting better all the time. But as you can see, we have some concepts where you can read about Soccer Starts at Home, learn about Tom, video skills library that has ball mastery skills, ball mastery on the move, parent checklist, and then a little blog on the school program. So a real great resource for parents and soccer people. This is a video of Tom. It's an example of one of the ball mastery, a few of the ball mastery exercises that you can find on the website.
Hi, I'm Tom Byer, and welcome to the Houston Dynamo Soccer Starts at Home program. The next exercise is going to be tic-tac-slide. So now we're combining 2 ball mastery skills together. The point is rhythm. While you're doing the tic-tacs back and forth, right foot and left foot with the rhythm, you slide the balls to either side.
Now this stuff right here for a young child is challenging. The feet are the farthest part from the brain. So this kind of motor coordination, right foot, left foot, developing them as partners is really fantastic stuff to do with a young child. And you can start this, as you'll see, you can start this as soon as you're ready. 2, 3, 4-year-olds can do this. And what Tom's doing is he also goes through and how he combines these different ball mastery skills.
Hi, I'm Tom Byer, and welcome to the...
So there's a bunch of videos on there of that type of ball mastery. One of the big things, that we're doing with the program is, again, we're trying to share this with more and more people. We had a really great meeting with the Director of Education, Juliet Stippich, who's from the city of Houston. And there's a picture of her right there when we met with her. Wonderful lady, but she had probably the best quote for me kind of in the time here. She said, Paul, she got it right away after she saw the presentation from Tom. She said, Paul, the ball is like a book. I mean, the kids are learning, the kids are counting, the kids are concentrating, the kids are focusing, they're acquiring a skill. And the ball can be just like a book, and a parent can be, just like a parent could be reading a book with a child, they could be working on this and doing this and engaging with their child with a soccer ball. So she really loved it. We spoke about how we can design these programs to reach a greater number of students. And that was a really big meeting. She's been great to introduce us to some different school districts. This is a quick slide, actually from Tom's presentation. This is Dr. John Rady. And, you know, what's really important to understand is that, you know, we're not necessarily doing this to create soccer players or professional soccer players. This has real great benefits cognitively for any child. You know, this is the development. We're using soccer, we're using ball mastery, but those skills that these childs are developing, just like math skills, piano skills, soccer skills, it's not a different brain. So this stuff is unbelievable from a cognitive level. John actually wrote the foreword for Tom's book. So, you know, the educators are seeing the benefits of this, and I think the parents are as well. So as we're looking forward, you know, really the best way to do this is, you know, we can only touch, you know, and reach so many schools ourselves. So really the concept is, how do we help our educators? How do we help our PE teachers, our districts? How do we create programs? So that's really teaching the teachers. So one of the things that we'd like to do is create workshops and certifications on these methods to help PE teachers be able to organize these developmental classes. So basically teaching the teachers. These are some of the steps that we've taken, ongoing and upcoming. I mean, this has taken a lot of good work, you know, a lot of people involved. I'm really proud to say that the whole Houston Dynamo and Dash organization has really backed it from the full organization. But, you know, these are just some of the steps that we take. So we know it's a long-term process. We know there's a lot of work to be done, and we want to be diligent and patient. But, you know, you got 17 school districts in there. There's literally thousands and thousands of children, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old that could really benefit from this type of program. One of the other things that we're doing when Tom visits here and out in the community is we're doing parent ignition events with local youth clubs. And, you know, one of the things that really resonated with me when Tom came and did his presentation, he said, Paul, I would rather speak with 30 parents than 30 coaches. And at first I didn't quite understand it fully, but, you know, once you learn more and more, it's really, his message is really about the parents. It's not about more coaches education, even though that's very important. It's not about more facilities or elite pathways. At these ages, it's about how can we share these insights with the parents. And it's a challenging market to try to find, and but these are some of the mechanisms that we use, right? So if you have a youth club, you know, there might be a child in there who's 10 years old, but they might have a young child that's 4 or 5. But these concepts really go well beyond, you know, 4, 5, 6. It can go even into older age groups, as you'll see. So we've been doing these parent ignition events, fantastic local partner and development clubs. And so this word is starting to spread. Been having a lot of really good feedback on this. Here's an example of a really nice response from a local club. But, you know, this is you know, it's an educational process. So, you know, from a club that would like us to come out there and show it to their kids, you know, 18 months to 6 years, right? So spreading the word is really part of the process. You know, we have to spread the word. And, you know, we've had some great people that have media outlets and people. That's David Nuno on the left, that has done some great features, really understands the program and is really intrigued by it. This is Tom on the right, his Twitter right there, and showing a little girl, Jocelyn, 6, 7 years old, showing what's possible. This is essentially, you know, a child that's been developing at home when she was really young. The father had never played soccer, but had read Tom's book. Started to create an environment in the home around ball mastery. So, you know, Jocelyn probably hadn't even crossed over the line into organized play at that point, but you can see how technically proficient she is and how you know, she's working on her concentration, her focus, her controlling, you know, and it's an environment that she didn't have to, you know, buy shin guards for. She didn't have to go out to the field for necessarily. She could start to do it at home. And that's really the big message and how important the parents are in that process. So, you know, kind of what else have we been doing and trying to do and working with? We've been doing a lot with different partners and development clubs with children in these ages, and starting to get WhatsApp groups, started to do a Soccer Starts at Home 15-week challenge. And it's been really amazing to see the parents start to learn about the program and start to do this with their children at home. And it's been really a lot of fun to see the development of these young kids, these Houston kids. So I'll give you an example right here. This is a little girl, Anna Beth, from Westbury Soccer Club. She was 3 years, 10 months. This was week 1, day 1. And her mom, who had come to an ignition event, saw this and she, you know, she started the program. And the mom does an amazing job.
Go back. Okay.
Anna does.
Good. Anna. Okay.
Introducing the ball. And, you know, the parent there, the child's looking for the parental engagement, the parental approval. And
Just
even
play
what
with
she's
the
doing
ball,
there,
Anna.
pulling the ball back is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Good. Good, Anna. You're doing great. Good job, Anna. Excellent. Wow.
So that was week 1, day 1. Just a week later, you know, and she was doing the little ball mastery. She was working on the week 1 skill, the slide. And a week later, you know, this was Anna. And you can already see how she's getting really comfortable, the balance. And she's already mastering a skill at 3 years and 10 months. Here's another example. Here's a little boy. I think he's 5 years old, from Total Football. He did week 1. He's doing the slide. He's doing it. You know, the parent was a little documenting it, which is always great for the child to see. The documentation. Doing the slide, which is really good. If you go back to this slide right here, you see at the bottom here on this far right, you know, he was doing the slide and Tom said, great work, try speeding up the movement. So, you know, this is, you know, Tom Byer, one of the best technical coaches in the world, is already believing in the child that he could even speed it up once that control was there. And week 3, you know, 5 years old, you know, he's speeding it up, and this is the development process. But you're seeing that this stuff is possible even with young children. They're getting this flying head start in the game. Another program that we're doing that we really believe in, and Gareth knows a lot about this. He has a wonderful presentation on this that I think everybody in the country should see. But it's we started to do a few what we call Dribble festivals. I'll show the video of it, but basically the idea is, at these younger ages, 4 through 6, 7, 8, why are we playing 9v9? Why are we playing 8v8, 7v7? We took this from Belgium, the federation over there, these 2v2, where a child can have a lot of time on the ball and have a lot of fun. I'll explain it a little bit more, but the video will explain it probably better than I can. So if you notice right here, the field's about 18 yards long. I actually think that might be Gareth's son right there. Scores the goal, great goal. And once you score the goal 2v2, you have to run back and around your goal. The other group can pick it up and they try to score. So we played about 8-minute games, 10-minute games, had a little halftime. The kids rotated and they had a blast. In between, we did a little ball master. All these kids are 5, 6, and 7 years old. And you see, we're trying to get the right foot and the left foot as partners. So no kicking of the ball, but all dribbling. She's doing the tic-tac there. Doing the slide. You see some kids that maybe have never been introduced to it before, so they're looking around. But all kids can do this.
See kids dribbling and picking their heads up and getting lots of opportunities to have a ball at their feet. And it keeps it fresh because they're rotating constantly.
So just a really great format for the grassroots ages. It's something that Gareth has an amazing presentation on it that hopefully everyone can watch. But that's something that I think is structural or a programming that could really help these ages. So talk a little bit now about the culture of development during the COVID-19. Kind of what we're doing during this time, but also what every family out there can do, every club can do there. So famous quote there from Johan Cruyff: "Every disadvantage has its advantage." We feel this is a great opportunity during this time to develop, and it takes a lot of hours to become a really great player, become a player that's comfortable on the ball. So in the academy here and kind of in the foundation and the different programming and clubs that we work with, we're really taking this time to inspire kids to train their technique, to learn how to train, but essentially to fall in love with the ball. Also a great time to become a student of the game, help them inspire them to become more active and thoughtful, to watch the game, to think about the game. So it's an amazing time during the COVID, during the quarantine, to not make excuses, but to really delve into all the wonderful hours that these children can be developing. So these are kind of a series of short videos. It's kind of, I'd say what development looks like at every age, at these younger ages. This is Daniel Roberts' son. I think his son is probably about 20 months, okay? And there he is, he's dribbling. At 20 months, that is technical development right there. Just having him dribble the ball and, the concept of not necessarily kicking it all the time, but just dribbling. It's wonderful development, right? As these children get a little bit older and you're doing things in the home as well, you can get into more, what we call ball mastery. Even if it's 15, 20 minutes a day. There's young Hunter, 6 years old, he's doing the slide, really gaining control, balance, focus, wonderful stuff. And if you start early and, you're diligent, you can do even more. So this is Joseph, this kid's on fire. He's been doing, soccer starts when his parents really started with him and engaged with him positively. He's also watching the skill builders that we do in the academy. So he's doing all the stuff that the academy kids are doing. So kids at these young ages can really do amazing things. We just have to create the environment for them. But we want to create an environment throughout Greater Houston, throughout South Texas of technical excellence. Kids really becoming comfortable with the ball. So I'll show you a really, really great example. It's a good friend of mine, Mike Carroll from TFC, who I really consider a master coach in the grassroots development. So a lot of people don't think of a master coach, and they always think it's the older age groups, U19, professional, but there's really fantastic coaches that really know how to develop the younger ages, and Mike's one of those. This is just literally a couple of weeks ago. Mike was doing a virtual class with a bunch of his 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. Really, really interesting. And you can see some of the kids.
We do a V, right, where we pull it back and pull it across our body. Alex, do you know the V, Alex, where you demonstrate it for me? There we go. Pulls it back and over, back and over. Slow it down a little bit, Alex. Slow it down. I know you're fast with your feet. All right. We're going to pull it across our body and push it forward. We're going to pull it across our body and push it forward. This is a new one for a lot of you. All right. So let's try to, you can take your time working on it. Back and forward. There we, excellent stuff.
Good, Alex.
If you have something to go.
And you can see, if you look at all the different things, there's some kids that are, just still learning it, right? They're looking at the video, they're trying to figure it out, right? And then there's some kids that have started a little bit earlier. Maybe they've done a little bit more in the home. You see Alex and the girl over here. So they've kind of got this flying start. I mean, those are kids there that are going to play the game forever, right? Because when they go off into these organized plays, they're comfortable, they're confident. So we want to give more kids that flying start.
Around, that would be great, but we're going to go back and forth. You give it a try. Good stuff, Elijah. Elijah's got it mastered. Good. Back we go. Elijah's going back and forth. You pull it back with your right, you push it forward across your body. We're going across our body with it. Excellent stuff. Back and across, back and across. Just making a V. It's new for a lot of people. Good, James. That's excellent, James. James knows it because he's been doing the soccer starts at home and the skill builders. This was on our skill builders for a lot of us. That's good, Hunter. You got the idea, Hunter. Keep it going.
Elijah, let's pick it up. Let's see some feet. Quick feet. Yeah, that's better.
Good, Evie. Good, Evie.
There you go, Elijah.
Ryan's got the idea. Keep going, Ryan. Jaden, I like it. Jaden's got the idea too.
So, what's Mike doing? Mike is really positive. He's got just teaching them the skills and how it works. But imagine, you know, that there is a lot of parents that were able to do what Mike's doing right now, engaging with their child at home with these simple concepts. You know, I'm a true believer. I'm convinced that if we had, you know, 10,000 Mike Carrolls, right, in our country, we'd be a much better soccer nation. But those coaches at those early ages are the parents. They're the ones that create the environment. So it's really great lessons right there. And what Mike does so well is he engages the parents and he teaches them these concepts of soccer starts at home. So learning ball mastery, falling in love with the ball is very, very important at those early ages. The parents are the key. But you know, as they get a little bit older and they're 7 or 8, they've crossed lines into organized play. You also want to learn the game in a really good way, right? So you want to learn the game, you know, in a skillful way, in an intelligent way, and you can do that at young ages as well. This is a great little video. This might be my favorite video. A bunch of 7 and 8-year-old kids that are in the foundation program. And you'll see a lot of examples of the ball mastery and really good decisions, even at these young ages. There's no magic pill to this. You know, it's not that this is just, you know, they were born with some special talent. All this was developed. These kids are really loving the game because first they love the ball. So a lot of kids get thrown into the game before they love the ball. So they're asked to play. They're asking, you know, coaches are asking them to play to win a game, but the reality is they didn't fall in love with the ball first. Those are the kids that, you know, that's why a lot of kids quit the game early, because they're thrown into games without necessarily falling in love with the ball. One child, one ball. It's this combination of learning to fall in love with the ball, getting comfortable, and then you can see they can do really, really amazing things. And you can see some of the right foot, the left foot, the pullback to protect the ball right there, the change of direction. The eyes are up, okay? And a lot of times, or most of the time, you know, the best dribblers of the ball are also the best passers of the ball. So dribbling at the younger ages and ball mastery at the young ages is very, very, very important. So I talked about that falling in love with the ball. This doesn't stop, you know, throughout a player's career. This is a wonderful young player here, Braden. Absolutely fell in love. He's in our Catalyst Foundation program. I think in this video he's 9 or 10 right now, but you can see how he's falling in love with the ball. And these are all ball mastery. These are all things that we practice. The V, they're all on the videos that we have at Skill Builders or Soccer Starts at Home. So we've given him some guides, a framework, but really he's on his own, man. This is his will. So he's in love with the ball. He could probably go out there and practice and play for a couple hours and just be in total joy, okay? But you have to learn how to train. You know, it's not some, you know, you have it or you don't. You're constantly teaching and learning. So this this time right now during the quarantine, we're actually working a lot with our players to inspire them to be creative and to be disciplined and to be diligent, but to really focus on technical excellence. Here's just a couple examples of some of the things they're doing on their own. They're doing juggling, he's challenging them there, right foot, left foot. So each day these guys are working on different things. We have Tanner Chasman, our skills coach, is giving them wonderful challenges each day, but they're learning to practice on their own. Again, just falling in love with the ball. So what a great opportunity to teach young players, you know, to train on their own, right? If we can help them, if we can guide them and inspire them, it's a wonderful time. We know that our players are going to come out of this and they're going to be a little bit more mature, a little bit more deliberate, and be better off for it. So, talked a little bit about the developmental phases, you know, the pre-grassroots, the grassroots. The soccer starts at home. There's Juan Vega, who's our key guy that's helping me with Soccer Starts at Home. Tanner Chasman is our skills coach, and this is kind of what I want to talk about now. Tanner Chasman, I brought Tanner in just this last year. He's our skills coach, and he doesn't coach a team. He works, he focuses purely on the technical development of the players. And he really, really works with the foundation ages, the U10s, the U11s, and U12s quite a bit, because those are really key ages. We wanted to create a program where in these ages, in this phase of development, right, they're out of that grassroots phases. We wanted them where they started to really own and understand about owning their own personal development, okay? So it's not coach-driven, but it's player-driven, okay? So we wanted to start to encourage them to train outside of our structured training. We train 4 days a week at this age with the Dynamo Academy. We wanted them to train outside and to be inspired to do that. We wanted to do a way to track it. We wanted to create this fossil. So we created a program called Skill Builders, which we started in October of this last year. And it's been really fantastic. It's been amazing for us. And basically the components of Skill Builders are, we have a Skill Builder card, skill card, physical card. We have tutorial videos. We have a fun player of the month. And we also have WhatsApp groups. These are all kind of components of the Skill Builders program. So I'll go through each of the components. We have a card. There's a card on the left. Tanner does a great job each month of creating skills, and he puts them in categories: ball mastery, dribbles, turns, and other types of skills. And he creates about 5 of these per month, okay? There's the card right there. And he also creates tutorial videos. We as a club create the videos. Here's an example of December turns. So if you look on the card, you'll see the turns, right? And you'll see the tutorial video right here. So our kids can watch the video on their phone at home, go out, practice for 15, 20 minutes on their own, half an hour on their own at home, before school, after school, and now they're getting that extra development, which makes so much difference. So you see the videos are very, very instructive. You know, they'll go through the move, you know, 3 or 4 times. They'll do it in slow motion, kind of describe it. So the kids can really break it down. The parents can actually see it as well. But our kids have been loving this in the academy. Here's an example of kind of how it works. That's Curtis right there. You can see, you know, his skill builder card for December. You know, when he practiced, you know, 20 or 30 minutes on his own at home, you know, he would have his parent initial it, bring it back to Coach Tanner. You can see on this month, December, he did every day. He practiced on his own, but Curtis had the tools to do it. He had the program, and he was inspired to do it. So we didn't quite believe it. Curtis practiced every day, so we tested him out, and he knew all the moves. He did it also. So he was our first skill builder player of the month. We created a little video for him. You see a lot of his ball mastery is done with one foot, it's done with the other foot. Right there, we were telling Curtis to pick his head up. We wanted him to look up, right? Because once you master the ball, you want to get your vision up. You may never use these moves in a game, but the fact that he's coordinating and he's trying and he's mastering different skills is the whole point to it. He's falling in love with the ball. So that's a little bit about the videos and you know, Tom has a great quote. Is basically the technique is the DNA of the player. You know, players that are technical are confident, and this type of technical development is so important in young players. We would like to share this program with as many kids out there as possible. That's why we wanted to create this resource. So we put all these videos up on the site. It's right there, and we want to share this program. So it started off in the Dynamo Academy, but we brought it to all the Catalyst Foundation, which are U10, U11, U12, with all our partner clubs. And we want to spread it throughout Greater Houston so people know it's a resource, and really throughout South Texas. That's a great little photo right there. Rodo Castilla, he's one of our coaches in the foundation. He had 4 players right there that had 25 extra sessions on their own on their individual development outside of the structured practice. So it's really been great to start to share this program. Another really fun thing actually we're doing through this quarantine is we have skill builders WhatsApp groups, and you can see we have a lot of different groups going with our different foundations, different age groups. But basically, Tanner does a great job of giving the kids a challenge and giving them the structure and then the guidance, and the kids go out there. Here's a nice little example of one of the challenges. This was just probably a few weeks ago. So he's doing the Elon's receive off the roof challenge. You see there's no coach around, right? You know, just a little bit of help there, but the player's really driving it, you know? And technique is a lot more than just dribbling. Technique is a one-touch pass, it's heading, it's receiving. So this is all technical development. So we sent that little challenge to all the kids and in the foundation, and there's a lot of kids that are working on that challenge and having a lot of fun with it. So kind of going back to the programs that we have, we have the Soccer Starts at Home program. We want to share that program with as many people as possible. I mean, I know I have people throughout the country that are calling to find out more about it all over the country. But we would really like to inspire our city here, Greater Houston and South Texas, about the value of early age development. We want to basically inspire more parents to engage positively with their child at home in the early ages and through ball mastery. And we want to introduce more young children to the game of soccer. So you saw the school program. A lot of those kids had never played soccer before, but that program helps introduce them to the game and hopefully fall in love with the game, so we grow the game. Going to scale, we want to keep refining our school program, our certification program. We want to work really, really positively with our federation, our association in STISA, who's a big supporter of this. And we also want to work with our local partner clubs as well. So throughout all of Houston, there's also a lot of different what you call recreational clubs, parks and recreation, YMCA, Boys and Girls Clubs. And these are also organizations that can really benefit from learning about this type of programming. So what are our key performance indicators? Hopefully we want to introduce more kids to the sport of soccer as their first sport. We want them to fall in love with it. We want to introduce more parents and families to the Soccer Starts at Home concepts, and especially ball mastery. And we hope that this improves the number of kids that play, but also the quality of skill at the entrance level throughout the pre-grassroots, grassroots, and foundation levels, and hopefully create a new generation of soccer players that have really fallen in love with the ball. So that's the presentation that I have for you. Here are a few resource pages for you if you're a parent, if you're a club director, if you're a coach, if you want to learn more. We have a couple great resource pages right there for Soccer Starts at Home, for the skill builders, and also for if you want to read the book, Soccer Starts at Home. Highly, highly recommend that book, and you can find it there. So thank you.
Paul, thank you so much for doing that and being part of our program tonight. If you have a few minutes, I have a few questions that have been sent in, and I think you've touched on some of them, but if you could maybe expand on, that would be fantastic.
Yep, absolutely.
So first of all, you talked a little bit about the difference in cultures between the United States and other countries, and how might what's happening in our own country be different from what's happening in South America and Europe, and as a result of those differences, why do programs like Soccer Starts at Home, skill builders, become so important for Texas and the United States? And can you explain that to the audience?
Yeah, I mean, we have every country is unique. When you go to a country in South America, football, soccer is the sport. I mean, it really is. From the day you're born, it's part of your culture. It's in the newspaper, it's in the home. Same in Europe, right? Here in our country, it's not necessarily like that. It is, with parents that have played and everything else, but it's a little bit different, right? So we have to kind of lead with education. you know, and lead with the insights about, you know, how far a child can develop, how a child can develop at these early ages. So it's basically creating a culture, you know, and a more informed culture. And I think it's important in our country. I think it's important the fact that, you know, kids are on their phone all the time now, right? They're on devices. They don't necessarily jump out into the street and play pickup or street soccer, you know? So we have to come up with, you know, creative and innovative ways and programming and ideas that can relate to our culture, right, as we develop it. So, you know, that's why I think it's very, very important in the United States, in our country.
I think that's exactly right, and I appreciate the answer. Next question. We live in a country where obviously there's lots of sports, lots of opportunities, and lots of other activities and things that players can be involved in. What role do you think programs like this help in player retention? I know as we see players get older, the retention rate, you know, drops off, and we lose more and more players either to other sports or to not playing sports at all, and that's a kind of a countrywide problem. How might this kind of program benefit that problem that we're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you know, it goes back to you know, falling in love with the ball before falling in love with the game. Kids that fall in love with the ball aren't the ones that are quitting, right? It's when kids are thrown into a game and they haven't really been, you know, introduced to the ball early. Those are the ones that are more prone to quit the game, right? You know, we have to do away with programs at the young ages where, you know, they're playing 8v8 at, you know, 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, the concept, you know, of the 2v2 Dribble Festival or 3v3. You know, these are self-inflicted wounds, developmental wounds of our country, right? So, you know, there's no magic pill or wand to wave across, but I think you have to lead with education on it. And if one club, you know, one organization at a time, one family at a time can hear the message and start to innovate a little bit and adapt a little bit to what is needed at the development at the early ages, you'll see less kids quitting the game. You'll see more kids playing for longer, you know, because they're falling in love with the ball and falling in love with the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it helps them take their initiative and kind of ownership too. If they're falling in love with the game, then they've fallen in love with the ball, and they take the initiative to continue that relationship and develop those technical skills. And that's kind of the part that we're missing a lot of times. So absolutely. Last question. What steps would you recommend clubs take to implement programs like these? Where do they start? What's the first step to implementing these kind of programs and getting these things going?
Well, I think if you're a grassroots club or you have a recreational club or organization, if you have players, you know, 4 through 10, 4 through 11 in that grassroots and foundation ages, I think, you know, really start to look at the concepts of Soccer Starts at Home. You know, you can share the website with the family, educate your coaches first, but really reach into your parents with these concepts, right? So start to teach your parents. Your parents are your developmental partners at these young ages, you know? So I think that's really, really important for organizations. Get organized in kind of how you can share that programming. You know, I think today you saw a few of the ways that we're doing it with the ignition events, with the resource page, with the messaging, right? I think that's really important. I think another really, really important thing, you know, for South Texas, for Houston, for our country, is latching onto these ideas like the 2v2 Dribble Festival. You know, if more grassroots organizations could find a way to do that once a week or twice a week or throughout the year, I think the kids are going to have more fun. They're going to develop more, right? They're going to touch the ball more. I mean, you know, I said, you know, organization play 9v9 at U8, you know, U4 to U8, you know, it's one ball to 18 kids, right? It's really ridiculous for development, right? So I think, you know, it starts with organizations and club leaders as well to learn about development at these young ages and really value it and start to create programming that helps the kids.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think, obviously you're there as a resource. South Texas is there as a resource, and we're happy to help in implementing those programs and helping guide people through that. Paul, thank you again for taking the time to share these powerful ideas and these programs that are available and free for our membership and anyone who wants to access them. I'm looking forward to seeing the powerful effect that they're going to have upon our community and the future of soccer players in South Texas and in Houston and the development of that culture that you referred to. I think it's going to be exciting to see in the next 10 years and maybe even sooner. So thank you.
You're welcome, Gareth. And my contact information is on there. I'm very accessible. You can call me, you can email me. Those websites are a great place to start for the kids, for the parents. And yeah, I know you and I, Gareth, and a lot of people are going to be, being diligent in spreading the word.
Awesome. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gareth.